Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So guys, a lot of people were asking me how do I water my succulents, so I thought that I'd quickly show you my routine. Now this is how I usually tend to water my succulents because I have so many succulents that it takes a lot of time. So what I tend to do is I divide my watering into two parts. One part I tend to do bottom watering and the others I tend to water them from above. In this way it saves a lot of time because usually it takes me around 1 to 2 hours to water all of my succulents and my other plants as well. Now definitely succulents do not need a lot of water, so this tends to work out really well because I usually do this probably once in 15 days or probably depending upon the weather. During summers it happens every 5 or 6 days. Again, it depends how quickly the soil tends to dry, and this is how I tend to do bottom watering. Now I might probably buy another tray like this because I have increased my collection and this works out really well when it comes to watering. Now as you can see, I had filled this tray with water and now I will start putting in my succulent pots. Now because these are concrete pots, you will also be able to see a lot of these pots will start to bubble. Now the reason these pots, you will be able to see the amount of bubbles. Now this works out for your clay pots as well as with concrete pots because these pots are very porous and they have these air pockets that are connected in them. That's why these pots are breathable and our best option whenever you're going for succulent collection. I would always suggest you can either go with concrete pots or with unglazed clay pots. These are the best option. They tend to dry out the soil faster. As you can see over here as well, the amount of bubbles that are coming out of the pot because these succulents were not watered for a really long time. So you can see in this way, this is one slot of my succulents that are getting watered. One of the best way to water your succulents. But guys, remember during summers avoid bottom watering, or you'll have to do it much more frequently because this type of watering, the soil tends to dry much faster. Now these are another set of my succulents which I will be doing top watering. Now unfortunately I am not able to find the larger container with which I used to water, so right now I only have this bottle that I'm going to be using for watering my succulents. But this bottle is really small, it requires refilling every now and then, and this process takes a little longer time. However, if you have less succulents, this bottle is absolutely fantastic. It waters and it helps in watering the best way without dropping any water on the succulent leaves. As you can see over here, this type of bottle can work out, especially if you have an arrangement that is very tightly packed, and because the nozzle is very narrow, it can reach out directly to the soil. So if you have very less succulents, this type of bottle will work out really well. But for me this takes a lot of time because I have so many succulents and it takes a really long time to water with this bottle. But usually for my propagation, for succulent propagation, I don't have an issue because I tend to use this bottle. It works out really well. So if you have a very small collection, this won't be a big issue. You will be able to water very safely with this kind of a container, with this watering can, because as you can see the nozzle is very narrow and it reaches out directly to the soil. But unfortunately this is taking really long time for me. I miss my old watering bottle, but however I can do it with this as well. Now because I have a lot of experience with succulents, so I can water without dropping any water on the succulent leaves. But if you are quite afraid of dropping water on the succulent, then I would suggest is use the narrow nozzle. Now guys, I'm almost done watering this one pot. Now as you can see, it takes a lot of time to water. Now usually it takes me around 1.5 hours to 2 hours to water all of my collection in one go. Now over here this particular pot is completely watered. The water has started to leave the pot. The water has started to drain out. And on the other hand, my other succulents that I've kept for bottom watering are also completely watered. You can see the water is now present inside the pot, so now it's time to drain out the excess water, and it's not a very difficult task. All you have to do is just lift the pot and put it outside and all of the excess water will start to drain out. So as you can see how simple bottom watering is, without dropping any water on the succulent leaves. I have completely done watering this lot of pots. Now it's time to add in other pots. Now guys, these are my papercrete pots because a lot of people were saying that how strong are papercrete pots. Now you can see I even do bottom watering for my papercrete pots. Don't worry guys, the papercrete pots are really strong. They do not melt away if you put it in the water. You can see how strong they are. And at the same time, once these guys are getting bottom watered, I am watering my other pot. And you can see how quickly these pots have got bottom watered, because if the pot is smaller, the bottom watering happens quickly. As you can see, all of these pots are bottom watered because the pot size is really small, so they immediately get bottom watered. However, the bigger ones will take a little bit of time. As you can see, this is a slightly longer pot, so you can see it's taking some time. But nothing to worry, because as you can see, the upper surface of the soil has started to get wet. So I'm going to leave it in the tray for some time and let it completely get wet. So usually in bottom watering, you have to wait for the upper layer of soil to completely get wet, and then you can take it out. Once the upper layer of the soil is wet, it indicates that your succulent has been hydrated, the soil has been hydrated, and the soil is completely wet. Now here, as you can see, a little bit of soil is still left, so I'm going to put it back again in the tray. And over here, rest of my succulent bowls have got watered. So this is also done. The other pot is also done. So you can see how quickly these are getting watered, and they are getting watered safely without dropping any water on the succulents. Now I had filled this tray with water only once, but you can see the amount of pots that are watered without even adding any more water to the tray. And another thing, this is my purple delight. Now I'll show you another thing why bottom watering works out really well sometimes, because as you can see, there is a mother leaf with pup in this pot. Because if I would have watered it from above, the mother leaf would have got wet and it would have got rotted. So this is the safest way to water. Let me take out this pot. As you can see, I just introduced this pot to this tray and it's already watered. You can see the soil is already wet. So it's time to take out this pot from the tray. And now talking about bottom watering, as I said, the mother leaf is going to be very safe because the water is not going to fall on the leaf. So it's very safe to water like this, especially if you have pups or mother leaf in the same pot. Now, as you can see, within no time, the soil got wet. The watering is done without even dropping any water on the mother leaf as well as the pup. And at the same time, my mother plant, that is the mother Graptoveria Purple Delight, is also watered. So you can see how simple it is. The mother leaf is very healthy. The pup looks very healthy. Probably in some time it will start getting bigger. But right now it is still a very small pup. I'm going to leave it as it is. I do not want to shift it to another pot right now. I'll wait for the pup to reach to a decent size and then probably move to the pot. Now guys, as you can see how simple it was, all of these succulents are watered. As you can see, all of this soil is wet. Probably it's not visible in the camera, but all of the soil is wet, which means that the watering has been completed. Now you can see how many pots I have watered within a very short period of time. Otherwise it would have taken a really long time. So this is the reason why I always tend to divide my succulents while watering. Few of them get few of them get bottom watered and others tend to get top watered. In this way it tends to save up a lot of time. So now majority of these succulents are all watered. As you can see, it's really difficult to capture everything in one shot, because it's not possible to capture everything in one frame, and I'm so sorry that I have to keep moving the camera. So these are all my succulents that are yet left to be watered. You can see the amount of succulents that I have. Few of them have got dehydrated and I have to sit down and water all of them. But however, all of these lot of succulents are watered. That is with a combination of bottom watering as well as top watering. So now I'm going to let them sit in the sunlight for some time so that all of the excess water is drained out completely from the pot. So this is how my watering routine is. Some of them are bottom watered, some of them are watered from above. Another important thing, as I said, it's very important to maintain your succulents. Always try to take out the dry leaves, because this is where usually a lot of bugs, a lot of mealybugs and other insects tend to hide, because it becomes a very favorable environment for them to sit or to breed. So guys, ensure that you clear off all the dry leaves. Now, because they were unattended, there is a lot of dry leaves that I need to clear. But a very important thing, guys, whenever you take out the dry leaves, do not water your succulents the same day, because even though the leaves are dry, when you tend to pluck them out from the stem, there would be an evident cut. And if you tend to water, there is a high risk that your succulent might get rotted. I'm not saying it will get rotted, but there is a high chance it might. So always take precautions. Do not water the same day. If you feel that your succulent is very dehydrated, do not pull out the leaves. Wait, water it first. Once you feel that the upper layer of the soil is completely dry, then pull out the dry leaves. But it's very important that you clear the dry leaves, because this helps a good amount of air circulation in the roots. Otherwise, a lot of times the dry leaves get collected. It becomes very difficult for the roots to have this good air circulation, even for the succulent for that matter, and it becomes a very good housing space for a lot of bugs. So it's very important that you clear off all the dry leaves. And this is how I usually tend to do. Now, usually I do not have a lot of dry leaves, but because they were unattended, so there are a lot of dry leaves which I need to clear. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. All you need is some tweezers and just try to pluck out as much as you can. Try to free the area, especially which is closer to the soil, because usually this is where a lot of bugs tend to have their parties. And this is how you can see the amount of dry leaves that I have got rid of from this succulent. And now I'm pretty sure the succulent is quite happy. It's like giving them a haircut. So you can see the succulent is doing quite well. All of the dry leaves have been taken out. Now I'm not going to water this pot at least for 3 to 4 days. I'll wait. As of now, the succulent is very well hydrated. So even if I'm not going to water it for 5 days as well, it's going to be absolutely fine. And if you also notice dry leaves like this which are partially dried, it's always better to clean them out as well, because over the period of time it will get dried off. So in case if you have plucked up a leaf like this, it's absolutely fine. However, these leaves do not propagate. It's very difficult to propagate. Probably out of 10, one might propagate, but usually doesn't work out, because half of the leaf is already, dehydrated. It's already dried. So as you can see, these all of the leaves, bottom leaves have got dried. Half of them have got dried, but I still tend to clear it off, because over the period of time, it's going to be on the plant and it is going to get dried up. So it's always better that when you're doing this, maintenance is also always better to get rid of them. So again, all of these leaves have been removed. Again, I'm going to leave it as it is, not water it for at least 3 to 4 days. The succulents are well hydrated, so nothing to be worried. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed shooting it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.